We can actually be happier if we practice sympathetic joy, if we cultivate this habit of being happy for other people's happiness. So we have this ability naturally as human beings to be sympathetic. We're born that way. Even when we're babies, we have this sympathy, this ability to feel with other humans. And often we think of sympathy as feeling with someone's sorrow or disappointment or tragedy, which is important. You know, I think it is important in many ways, but that's not what I'm talking about tonight. Tonight, the sympathy that we'll be reflecting on and meditating on is the sympathetic joy. Sympathy, feeling with other people's happiness. So how often do you do that? How sympathetic of a person are you? And this is not to, give yourself a hard time. Just investigating, just checking in. Okay, how often do I feel happy? Do I actually feel happy when something that I want happens to somebody else? I was thinking about it today. We all want good stuff, don't we? Like everybody. Everyone wants a killer place to live with a pool. I'm just kidding. I don't want a pool. But like if everybody could have a pool, they'd probably want one. Everybody wants nice stuff. Whatever nice is in their mind, right? We all have a different idea of what nice, but everyone wants comfort and nice food to eat and a nice place to live and an attractive partner and a stable job and some meaning in their life. Everybody wants this. So there's part of us sometimes we think, well, if they get it, I'm not going to get it. Because there is 7 billion people. Is that what we're up to now? There's a lot of people. And we all want good stuff. So we can get a little like, if they get it, I won't get it. And that might be true, actually. Because there's not, there might not be quite enough pools to go around. Or whatever it is, right? Of course there's not. So we can, maybe sometimes you reflect, well, I'm not that happy they got it, because actually I want it. So this is important to see in ourselves, I think. Like, oh, okay. And that, is it true? This is the task for you to see. What leads to more happiness? Does it lead to more happiness for you, in your mind, in your heart, to be, does that make you happier? Or the total counterintuitive thing, to be happy for others. Now, we're going to go through the categories of people today, these categories: benefactor, neutral person, difficult person. So some people in our lives that we know, it may be really natural, and we can feel that, yeah, it does feel good to be happy for them. We can get a taste of it. Hopefully there's somebody in your life that when you hear the good news in their life, you're stoked, you're happy. And I had this experience the other day, and I just felt happy. My grandbaby just turned 6, and he got to go to Chuck E. Cheese. He was so happy. He was sitting there with Chuck E. Cheese, like, so proud. I could just see it in the pictures. We're going to take him to the Space Needle on Sunday. That's what he wants to do for his birthday. So even just thinking about him at the Space Needle, and he's so excited. Joy. But that's easy. That's my grandbaby, Very easy to feel happiness for his happiness. I mean, that's the whole gig of being a grandparent. So hopefully there's somebody in your life that, I'm happy. And then just see, what does it feel like? What's the experience? If I allow myself to not worry about myself for like 5 seconds and what I'm going to get or not going to get, or just practice putting ourselves aside for just a little while and cultivate this happiness. So this is a cultivation practice. It comes naturally, and we might have to cultivate, especially when we're going through these different categories of people. There's some people that very difficult. It may be very difficult for us to feel happy for their happiness. We actually don't want them to be happy for whatever reason. We disagree with them. We think they're harming people. They've harmed us. We don't like them. We think they're wrong in some way. We don't want them to be happy. But if our happiness, if we can actually increase our happiness just by wishing in the privacy of our meditation, we don't have to go around and start hugging everybody and saying, I'm so happy, you're happy. This is a private thing. This is inner cultivation that we do. So we can be happier. So we can have more of a sense of ease. So at the very least, we don't suffer about other people's happiness. That's a drag, isn't it? It's just no fun. Somebody has something wonderful happen. We're upset. So, of course, this is for you to see for yourself. These practices that I teach must be practiced. They must be tasted in your own experience to see if it's true, to see. Because part of our mind may think, I know my mind is like, that's not going to work. Well, hopefully you're desperate enough to try to see, or at least want a little bit more happiness and ease to give it a go. So these practices of like appreciative joy, these heart practices where we try to cultivate the attitudes of our heart and mind that lead to more happiness. The sympathetic joy is something we have some of, and then we work in meditation practice to increase it, to cultivate it, to have our mind and our heart respond more and more of the time with this sympathetic joy. And so we train in meditation. And the way we do this is we repeat phrases. And so two things happen with this. One, it helps to cultivate. It may not feel like it in the moment, and that's all right. It helps to incline our mind like, oh, this is an option. I don't have to be jealous. I don't have to be envious. I could actually respond. I could actually be happy. I could actually like ride off of their happiness. You know those street bicycle riders that ride long distances on a bicycle? They can do this draft thing where they get behind another rider and they don't have to work so hard because they're in the draft. They just get to kind of cruise along. You can do that, you know. You can just take a little hit off their their happiness. And so we practice cultivating this with these, repeating these phrases. And then the phrases are also concentration. We're concentrating, and I'll offer you these simple phrases tonight to work with. Repeating them over and over. Now, when we repeat these phrases in our mind as our object of concentration, we're practicing a special kind of meditation that's concentration-based. Concentration meditation, when you get the hang of it, is pleasant, feels good. Just like when we get concentrated on the breath, maybe you guys have experienced this, you get focused and concentrated on the breath, there's some feeling of ease that just naturally comes from the meditation. So when we do these phrases, I just encourage you to practice the concentration and see what happens as well. See if you, once you get into the phrases and you're able to hold your mind there and stay with them, see what happens. See if you get that sense of ease. See if you get a sense of tranquility. It can be very, very pleasant. The only problem with it is it doesn't last. But that is good when it's happening. So that's my encouragement tonight with the phrases. Don't worry so much if you actually, if you don't feel happy. for the other person when you're imagining this happiness and we're going through the categories. Don't worry about that so much. My encouragement tonight is to practice concentrating on the phrases regardless of how it feels. And you just might get some pleasant feelings from the concentration. We'll see.